mini skirt, about to steal your man in a torn up t-shirt. This ain't the Hamptons, we all got tramp stamps. Acrylic covered in barbecue at the line dance. Gassed up, throw me in a saddle, spin me like a spur, make my snake skin rattle. Sassed up, round 'em like cattle, looking like Beyonce with a lasso. I'm a buckle bunny, drive my own truck, got my own money. Bang with the chalk, so I talk funny. Rhinestone hat since Kentucky. I'm a buckle bunny, I'm a buckle bunny. Ate the whole cake, left them no crummies. Bottle bleach blonde, but I'm no dummy. Big back porch, but a little tummy. Can't take nothing from me, I'm a buckle bunny.
This is the Black Pack. I am your host, Adrianne Shropshire, and you are listening to me and Andy's country retro. You are joining us on a good day. I'm excited about today's show because we're going to be talking about Black cowboys. So I thought we'd open up with a little bit of Tanner Adell because there's a new documentary series out on Peacock as of yesterday by Jordan Peele's Monkey Paw production. It's called High Horse, the Black Cowboy. It's a 3-part series that explores the erasure of Black cowboys from the history of cowboy culture in this country. So I was telling Andy, here's the music we playing this music in this country. So Andy, I have 2 questions for you. So one is, do you listen to country music?
I do not.
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to change that.
Back when I was younger, though, I did listen to country music. It helped me go to sleep.
Okay.
But I'm not going to the music store to go buy an album or anything like that.
No. Okay. Well, that's we're gonna change that. Did you know Tanner Adell before?
I did not, but
okay.
This is a banger.
It is a banger. It is a banger, and you should the whole album.
Yeah.
So I'm hip you. But so there's a part of and many people, not just Jordan Peele, have done some historical look, especially now, and particularly when Beyonce's album came out, Cowboy Carter came out. There was an entire conversation, right, about the reclaiming of country music specifically, but also about the reclaiming of cowboy culture because of the erasure of Black folks from that. And so, when you were growing up, did you know the history of Black cowboys?
Not at all. Not until I got a little bit older and I got to college and I got familiar with the Compton Cowboys.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa, are you serious? And it's crazy because low-key, like from time to time over the years, right here on Crenshaw. I would see folks on their horses from time to time. And I'd be tripped out, but I wouldn't really dig in or do any research on what that was all about.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was, I always think about LA is, you never know, especially in this part,
right.
in South LA, this part of South LA and in Compton, you'll be walking down the street and you'll absolutely see people on horses.
100%.
And it's not really a big deal, right? It's just people on their horses. I grew up riding. I don't know if I've ever told you that. Yeah, I rode horses as a kid.
Nice.
And I think that, and this is what we'll get into this conversation, but it was just like a thing that we did. It never really occurred to me that that other Black people didn't have the same experience.
Wow.
Right.
Okay.
So there was but what I didn't know, right? I didn't know that the Lone Ranger character that we used to watch on TV, right? Like I didn't know that the Lone Ranger character was based on a Black man.
Interesting.
Didn't know that till I was an adult.
Look at
right?
that.
So when we think about and we'll get into this. Our guest is going to be author and journalist Michael Harriot,
I like this
who narrates throughout the series. So we'll talk a little bit with him about how the kind of cool, hip aspects of cowboy culture that were the things that Black people created, that those things were co-opted until the entire narrative was completely changed and we have what we have today, that we saw the backlash, right, when Beyonce's album came out, right? That was not just a backlash against Beyonce doing culture. It was that Beyonce had reclaimed a lot of the cultural iconography, right, in that moment, right? And the backlash was about a rejection of that. But before Beyonce, there was Lil Nas X. Right, and so we can go. I won't do the history, but in the contemporary moment, Lil Nas X comes out with his, I don't even know, like historic, right? Song that they took it off the country charts. Right. They were like, oh no, you can't be on these charts. Old Town Road. I'm tripping. I couldn't even remember the name. Old Town Road. They were like, no, you can't have this. You can't do this. He's got to go get Miley Cyrus's daddy, right, to come and make it okay. Right, for him to be doing this country song, right? So we see the backlash that happens. It started, a long time ago, right? That started with, the erasure of Bass Reeves, right? His entire legacy being stolen and turned into the Lone Ranger. But we'll talk about that. So we're going to talk about Black Cowboys, this new series that's on Peacock by Jordan Peele's Monkey Paw Productions with Michael Harriot when we come forward. In the 5 p.m. hour, we're going to turn our attention to the ongoing attack on public education through the dismantling of the Department of Education. They laid out for us. They told us what they were going to do on Project 2025, and they've moved with lightning speed to get rid of the department that was established to ensure an equal education for all children. And of course, they started by cutting back on civil rights staff and enforcement within the department, and now they are about to outsource 2 critical functions of the department. So to talk about that and the implications, right, for our community, we're going to be joined by Jared Bass, Senior Vice President of Education at the Center for American Progress. And then later in the 5 o'clock hour, we're going to turn our attention back to redistricting, which we've been talking a lot about as Trump tries to rig the 2026 election by getting red states to redraw their congressional lines outside of the regular process. As you all know, the whole thing started when Trump told Texas Governor Greg Abbott to find him 5 congressional seats. And Greg Abbott said, let me see how fast I can do it. And then this week, a panel of federal judges said, no, actually, nope, that's illegal. We also saw this week the Indiana legislature that Trump was also counting on to rig their maps for him declined to do so because they simply didn't have the votes to do it. We know that Missouri will probably be facing a voter referendum to overturn what their Republican legislature did in terms of redrawing their maps. And we know that after the big Democratic wins in Virginia 2 weeks ago, I think it was 2 weeks ago, the Virginia Senate has said that if necessary, they'll get into the redistricting battle, right, if called upon. So all this redistricting stuff may be, kind of about to be a backlash for the current president. I see you, Andy.
Yeah, I got some questions. I mean, you said some things, and we're not gonna just brush over it though, real quick. And I don't know if you're gonna, get into it with the interview. So, I apologize if I'm jumping ahead. But I mean, you talked about growing up writing, and you said you kind of grew up like not thinking that people did not think that people wrote. Did you grow up on a farm, a ranch, or something like that, or? I
mean, it was the country kind of. I didn't grow up that's where my family was. I grew up in the city mostly, but my family was in the country, and so that's where we spent time. I'll get into it a little bit when Michael comes up. But yeah, I mean, it was because there's a big piece of this too in the series that I've actually found the most fascinating. In fact, I had to stop. I had to take a break after the second episode. I'll get into that with Michael and tell you why, because a lot of it was about land and owning land, right? And so, yeah, we'll get into that. So, lots to talk about in the next 2 hours. But first, we'll talk about Black Cowboys with Michael Harriot right here on KBLA Talk 1580. You are listening to The Black Pack.
You're part of The Black Pack with Adrianne Shropshire on KBLA Talk 1580.
Lowe's early Black Friday deals are going fast. Don't miss up to 50% off select major appliances. Plus, up to an extra 25% off when you bundle select major appliances. And with Christmas around the corner, you're gonna need more string lights, right? Save $4 on GE LED 100 count string lights, now just $5.98. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 12/3. Selection varies by location. Select locations only. While supplies last. See Lowe's.com for more details.
Small businesses are the heart of America. But you don't have to go it alone. As the nation's largest nonprofit resource of expert business mentoring, SCORE has helped millions of entrepreneurs build their businesses for free. Get the connections, education, and guidance you need with SCORE. We're ready to help. Find a mentor today at score.org.
All I need is one mic.
With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. We want to speak directly to our listeners in Altadena and all across Southern California. Recently, we invited Southern California Edison to join a town hall so fire survivors could ask questions and get clear information about the Altadena Eaton fire and this so-called settlement fund. Weeks before the event, the law firm originally connected to the program withdrew, and we provided SCE updated materials confirming those changes. But despite that, SCE later stated publicly and privately that they were pulling out of the town hall because plaintiffs' attorneys were participating. That was not accurate, and SCE knew that it was not accurate. But when shown documentation that disproved their claim, SCE ignored it and declined to correct the record. At KBLA Talk 1580, trust is not an option. It is the foundation of our work and witness. It is the promise that we make to you. And so we will not move forward with any partnership that misrepresents the facts or undermines the credibility that we have built in love and service to this beloved community. Our commitment remains with the good people of Altadena. We will continue providing independent, verified information to support your recovery without interference from any outside entity, including Southern California Edison, so you don't get burned twice. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. As always, we welcome your feedback.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Autopsy Initiative provides a second autopsy free of charge for victims' families who have lost their loved ones due to a police-related death. The services offered through the initiative include the completion of a second autopsy, disclosure of preliminary findings, and a final autopsy report. A police-related death is when an individual is harmed by police officers using deadly force, which results in an individual's death. Police-related death includes in-custody deaths, including those that arise during contact with law enforcement officers during arrest, pursuit, booking, transport, or incarceration. The Autopsy Initiative has a team of board-certified pathologists on call. An autopsy request may be completed by anyone with a close relationship with the victim, which may include the victim's spouse, partner, relative, close friend, or lawyer. To request a free second autopsy for a victim of police violence, please visit knowyourrightscamp.com. That's knowyourrightscamp.com. Then click on Autopsy, then click on Request. At KBLA, we believe in justice for victims of police violence. We say their names, and we don't black down. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
The California Crusader newspaper would like to thank all of our subscribers for their support throughout the years, proudly serving the South Los Angeles and South Bay areas for more than 40 years. The California Crusader is a multicultural, black-owned, adjudicated newspaper that focuses on providing newsworthy information to the people in our community. We're constantly looking for ways to assist businesses in our community to connect with our subscribers. We provide low-cost, effective ways to promote your business with our reasonable and affordable advertising rates. You can participate by suggesting, sharing, and submitting your stories on the California Crusader newspaper Community Share Facebook group page, or visit our website at cal-cruise-news.com. That's calcruisenews.com. Then click on the Submit Now button located on the top right corner of the homepage, or text CCN to 42828. Again, text CCN to 42828. The California Crusader newspaper, working together to build a better community for our future. Subscribe today.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 is committed to self-care and community well-being. Walk Good LA was formed in June 2020, inspired by the Black Lives Matter movement and the beginning stages of the COVID-19 pandemic. What began as a few minutes of breath work and yoga meditation before protests against police brutality turned into a safe space for the community to heal in hard times. The immensely positive response from the community transformed the momentum into a movement. Today, Walk Good LA is a Black and brown-led community wellness organization based in Los Angeles. They provide spaces for healing through community yoga classes, guided meditations, hikes, run clubs, and other activations throughout Los Angeles that attract hundreds of members weekly. With the help of Propel and Michael B. Jordan, they now have a yoga and wellness studio in Los Angeles called the Walk Good Yard. To join their mailing list and connect with healing spaces, please visit walkgoodla.org. That's walkgoodla.org. Or find them on Instagram at walkgoodla. This is a community call to action, a community call to healing from KBLA Talk 1580.
You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
An official message from Medicare.
Medicare plans change from one year to the next. And this year, it's important for you to review your current coverage and compare all your options during Medicare open enrollment. Compare health plans, drug coverage, and costs. See if you can save some money, and don't forget to make sure your drugs are covered. Open enrollment ends December 7th. Visit Medicare.gov or call 1-800-MEDICARE.
Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Hey there, Los Angeles. This is James Lucky Jr., publisher and editor of Los Angeles News Observer. Are you hungry for news that matters to you in the African-American communities of Los Angeles? Well, buckle up, because we got the scoop you've been craving. Stay in the know and never miss a beat with our free weekly publications conveniently available near you. Or hop on the digital wave and become an exclusive subscriber at OGNSC.com. Don't forget to join the party on Instagram and Twitter at OGNSCINC for behind-the-scenes access and sizzling updates. No more FOMO. Let's stay informed, connected, and empowered together.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Severe from Vicks.
Sinex Severe nasal spray?
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Severe instantly relieves nasal congestion and works 6 times faster than nasal decongestant tablets. The 12 hours of relief allow you to get back to the moments that matter without congestion.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it. Try Sinex Severe from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
There's nothing like when you get that part from eBay and it just fits. Yeah, the first time. So you can do less of this and get right back to more of this. At eBay, you'll find all the parts you need, guaranteed to fit, at prices you'll love. Sounds good, doesn't it? eBay. Things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
You don't talk to me like that. You don't talk to your mommy like that.
Unlike your mama, we can handle your black talk on the Black Pack with Adrianne Shropshire.
You are listening to The Black Pack, and we are waiting our guest for this week, Michael Harriot, to talk about the new film series on Peacock, High Horse, The Black Cowboy. But before we get to him, I wanted to, since I was bantering back and forth with Andy about cowboy culture and, whether or not, we grew up understanding cowboy culture. I want to actually bring in our friend who is always down to talk about all of the issues, Noah Changa, about this great new series, and the I guess really the sort of crux of it, Noah, is like the erasure, right, of Black folks from the culture, right, of cowboys. It sort of, defines, I don't know, like, American iconography or something, right? Is this idea of the cowboy, even though the literal term comes directly from a derogatory term that they used for us.
Right.
The cowboy was a slur, right, for Black men enslaved and then post-emancipation who did horse work, right, who were horsemen. So that's just the kind of the tip of the iceberg for it, right?
Yeah. I mean, just to recap real quick, like I really appreciate sitting down and binging it. My son actually was like, "Hey, have you seen this?" And I was like, "That's actually on my list." But what I do appreciate about the way it weaves in and getting to your point about the derogatory terminology, like these are very skilled people, right? At one point in the docuseries, and folks should definitely check it out, the 3 parts, but they talk about how like there were people who were stolen from Africa, particularly because of their handling and their skill. So it is a skill incident of Black skilled labor being denigrated, right? And so like literally the term cowboy versus cowhand. And then when it came to, you know, having it become a commercialized thing, there were decisions, as often gets made, to erase Blackness from the skill, from the bravado, from, you know, the excitement. I mean, you just think about like who gets lifted up as like the great American, you know, example of cowboys. It's John Wayne, right? It's the Rifleman. I think about all the shows like my dad and other people grew up watching. But like, you know, most people aren't mentioning things like the Sidney Poitier movie, which is referenced in this as well, Buck and the Preacher, right? So there are examples. And just, I was talking to my mom earlier about this too, and I was like, I do remember learning about Bill Pickett from my parents, right? And we did see like, you know, the Black cowboy, the Black rodeo growing up in Harlem, like to an extent. And there was some of that also like when we moved to Chicago, but the deep richness of the history. So we may have seen some of us, but the deep richness of history definitely has been locked away, erased, and disregarded.
Yeah, so one of the things that I'm glad you brought up the thing about skill, right? Because another thing that they talk about in the series is this idea that recently, I think this is recently, particularly folks inside the Trump administration, as we've been watching the erasure of Black history happen before or the attempt anyway at the erasure of Black history happening before our eyes. You had this whole thing about, you know, I feel like, I don't even know when it was, a few months ago, about, you know, Black people, you know, were actually helped by slavery because they learned skills, right? And the thing that you just raised, which is the accurate history, is that people were brought here because of the skill they already had. Right? They were already skilled horsemen when they got here. They were already skilled at cultivating and growing and harvesting rice, right? Then people didn't learn that necessarily when they got here, right? They actually taught it, right, to those folks who were enslaving them. So that's one of the things that I felt was a really helpful reminder in the series. And then also the other point that you just brought up about the sort of, again, the iconography, right? The Marlboro Man, right? The way that cowboys got portrayed to us versus the reality of it. And I was talking to Andy earlier about, like, I grew up riding horses, right? I don't think I totally understood that that other people didn't understand that Black people rode horses. Right, because we did, and certainly there were white folks who rode horses too, but it was a part of the culture of for my family, because folks come from the country, right? We just didn't end up in urban areas. And to Andy's point, also, on any given day here in South LA, or in Compton, right, you could see, right, people riding their horses, right? And I'm always just slightly like, oh wow, there's someone on their horse on the street, like down the street, like in the neighborhood, and because it is a part of our culture, and so it isn't totally shocking, right, to see people on their horses. And I think that, again, all the fans that sort of came out, right? Like I always joke about how I carry a fan with me everywhere I go because you never know when boots on the ground are going to come out. So I got to be ready. You got to be ready. But there's a part of it that is like we understand and we know our culture. And it becomes particularly important in this moment where we know that there is a concerted effort, right, intentionality to erase Black culture, that it becomes more and more critical, that we both remember, right, that we embrace, and that we tell the stories, right, of our actual history, because that's how we know it now, right? We lived it and it was passed on. Passed on to us. So that feels like, again, in a time where these kinds of both creativity and storytelling feels critical in this moment. It's the reason why I'm excited for people to go and watch it, right? Because there's really important historical memory in this 3-part documentary. Yeah. And so it's both about the culture of Black cowboyism, I think, if that's a word. It's about the culture and, and our role, right, in the history. But it's also about things that were attacked because we owned it. Right. And that includes things like land. Right. So when we come forward, we're going to continue this conversation about this important new film series on Peacock called High Horse, the Black Cowboy. This is the Black Pack. Stay with us.
More of the Black Pack with Adrianne Shropshire on KBLA Talk 1580 when we come forward.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. Chicago's Black Mayor Brandon Johnson called the recent Loop Train arson attack an absolute failure of the justice and mental health systems.
He was clearly seriously mentally disturbed and was a danger to himself and to others.
Lawrence Reed, who has a long criminal history, is facing a federal terrorism charge after allegedly setting a woman on fire. The victim is still hospitalized in critical condition. A federal judge ruled the Trump administration's National Guard deployment to D.C. was unlawful, violating the city's home rule powers. The order temporarily blocks future deployments without Black Mayor Muriel Bowser's approval, but is paused until December 11th to allow for an appeal. And Ohio officer Connor Grubb was acquitted of all charges in the fatal shooting of Takaya Young, a pregnant Black woman accused of shoplifting. Grubb said he fired in self-defense as Young's car moved toward him. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
As you're making the drive toward Mid-City on the 10 westbound at Santa Fe Avenue, it's an accident tying up one of the left-hand lanes, and you're slow coming away from the East LA interchange. This is a two-vehicle collision. On to Santa Fe Springs, an earlier accident that was in lanes, now on the right shoulder on the North 605 at Telegraph Road. It's a three-vehicle crash here. You're backed up from Rosecrans. Hollywood Freeway in Hollywood, 101 northbound on Hollywood Boulevard. It's an accident blocking the left-hand lane.
Think It Up is an initiative to activate student-powered, teacher-led learning projects. Students and teachers, how can you spark great learning experiences in your classrooms today? Join at thinkitup.org.
Is this the time? This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The USC football team has a massive game tomorrow at 7th-ranked Oregon. It's a must-win situation for the 8-2 Trojans. They need to beat Oregon to stay in contention for the 12-team college football playoffs. The Trojans have never qualified for the playoffs in the 11-year history of the postseason format. They're up against some tough odds to get it done tomorrow. The Trojans are 0-4 against top 10 teams this season, and they are 1-7 on the road against ranked teams during head coach Lincoln Riley's 4 years at USC. 12:30 kickoff tomorrow on CBS. For alumni of Southern University in the LA area, the HBCU's women's basketball team will be in town Sunday. Southern is playing UCLA at Pauley Pavilion at 2 p.m. Tough matchup for Southern. 5-0 UCLA is the number 3 team in the country. The Rams are at home Sunday night against Tampa Bay. The Chargers have a bye this week. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Yeah, y'all, come on.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we fight the power every day.
Yeah, y'all can give us what we want.
Gotta give us what we need. Hey! I listen to KBLA and I love the commercials. I know what the commercials mean. I also, if I'm looking and trying to figure something out, I need something to talk to me that might hit me. And it happens on TV because, you know, every time they show a sporting event, they got the pharmaceutical companies back to back to back telling people how to fix the sickness on the same stuff that they sell them. So we get it.
Yep, we get it too, Chuck D. And that's why at KBLA Talk 1580, we don't black down.
Drop it! Our freedom of speech is freedom of death. We got to fight the powers that be. Fight the power! Fight the power!
The holidays mean more travel, more shopping, more time online, and more personal info in more places that could expose you more to identity theft. But LifeLock monitors millions of data points per second. If your identity is stolen, our US-based restoration specialists will fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Don't face drained accounts, fraudulent loans, or financial losses alone. Get more holiday fun and less holiday worry with LifeLock. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS. Visit lifelock.com. Terms apply.
An official message from Medicare.
Medicare plans change from one year to the next. And this year, it's important for you to review your current coverage and compare all your options during Medicare open enrollment. Compare health plans, drug coverage, and costs. See if you can save some money, and don't forget to make sure your drugs are covered. Open enrollment ends December 7th. Visit Medicare.gov or call 1-800-MEDICARE.
Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. LA County's new Justice Care and Opportunities Department, or JCOD, is here to support justice-involved individuals and their families. The JCOD Support Center is now taking calls at 1-833-LACJCOD. That's 1-833-522-5263. Available 7 days a week from 6 a.m. to 11 p.m., the Support Center is your one-stop shop for re-entry issues and court support. They offer court reminders, connections to local services, transportation assistance for housing, court appearances, and childcare. The JCOD hotline provides personalized help to connect you with services that you need. And don't forget to check out justiceconnect.org for more information. Remember, it's free and available every day at 1-833-522-5263. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. Let's get back to more of the Black Pack with Adrianne Shropshire right now on KBLA Talk 1580.
Yeah, I'm gonna take my horse to the old town road. I'm gonna ride till I can't no more. I'm gonna take my horse to the old town road. I'm gonna ride till I can't no more. I got the horses in the bag, horse stock is attached. Head is matted black, got the bushes black to match. Riding on a horse, ha, you can whip your Porsche. I've been in the valley, you ain't been up off that porch. Now can't nobody tell me nothing. You can't tell me nothing. Can't nobody tell me nothing. You can't tell me nothing. Riding on a tractor, lean all in my blood. Cheated on my baby. You can go and ask her. My life is a movie, but riding and
listening to the Black Pack here on KBLA Talk 1580. And we are talking about Black cowboy culture because there is a new series out on Peacock called High Horse, The Black Cowboy. We were hoping to get the narrator of that series, Michael Harriot, on, but he has had a conflict, and so we're not going to be able to get him on, but we will get him rescheduled so that we can talk to him about not just the series itself, but about the history of that is talked about in the series. And as you all know, Michael Harriot has a great book that, folks, if you don't have it, you should get, called Black AF History, The Unwhitewashed Story of America. So if you don't have this book, you should get it. Make it a holiday Christmas gift, a Kwanzaa gift. But it is full of history that many of us probably weren't aware of. And that's why it fits, his voice sort of fits so perfectly into this historical look at the erasure of Black cowboys. But me and Anoa and Andy are going to press on in our conversation about this because, Anoa, it really, there's so much important history in the series, as we were talking about right before. One of the things that I found most compelling is the second episode, which talks about the relationship between Black cowboy culture, Black cowboyism, and land ownership. And it was, I was saying to Andy, I actually had to, after that, because, it was sort of, watching the series felt very much like, inspiring, uplifting, reminded me anyway of like the culture that that is my culture, right? But it's also heart-wrenching, right? And frustrating. And the second episode I watched, and I was like, I need to take a break because I'm kind of mad. Mm-hmm. Because it is about not just the theft of our culture and the theft of our music, but it's also about the theft of our land and our inheritance and people's ability to create generational wealth through land ownership. And so I know that was a part for you too that was that landed in a particular kind of way with you.
Yeah, I mean, watching it and just thinking about also the relationship, the erasure of Black cowboys from our culture, but also like the stolen, the cultural theft, right? But then also like the physical theft in terms of land, in terms of the economic opportunity, and just the connection between land that Black people have experienced, first during enslavement, particularly in the South, but then also, in the post-Reconstruction era, et cetera. And we see like the dispossession across multiple communities. I mean, everyone knows Tulsa. We know of Rosewood, but there's so many other communities and instances. One of the examples that's talked about, and folks definitely should watch it, they talk about like the seizure of property to make a road, right?
Right.
Like we know, I mean, and this is a parallel to what happened to Black urban communities that were destroyed to build the highways, right? Mm-hmm. There's a discussion about eminent domain, and it's just indiscriminate whether it's rural areas or urban areas. When we're talking about the loss of for land and families in rural areas, we're talking about like a form of wealth, right? That was denied generationally as well. And so it really is interesting, particularly now when we've seen, when you think about in the political context, now we've seen like the historic aid that's supposed to go to Black farmers.
Yeah, and I'm gonna
almost a sort of reparations. Right?
I'm gonna stay on that point for just a minute, because I think that was part of the thing that for me was like, oh right, because this is still happening right now. Right. And so when we talk about, Black land ownership, we're not just talking about people who are just buying land just for the purpose of buying land. Right. They're buying land for the purpose of creating, of being, entrepreneurs. Right. Of using the land to actually build wealth. Right. To make a profit. Right. Off the food that people were growing, to make a profit off of the livestock. Right. That people were tending to, and to have that land. And, I think there's a whole piece on Oklahoma in it, which I feel like we could do an entire segment, right? We could do an entire show just on Oklahoma as a promised land of sorts, right, for Black folks after emancipation, but how that land was taken from folks, and then the parallel of the ongoing and continuous struggle of Black farmers in this country after decades of discrimination from the U.S. Department of Agriculture, continued discrimination by the U.S. Department of Agriculture, and the ways that they've suffered, right? Joe Biden signed the reparations bill, right, to get them the $2 billion, which is not enough, right? But just that, the idea that from the time of field order, whatever it was, 15, I don't remember, I'm totally wrong, someone will correct me in the chat if I'm wrong about that, that gave us 40 acres and a mule, right, or that was supposed to give us 40 acres and a mule. We've been getting land and property taken away from us, and that's why I feel there was a generation of folks for whom the idea of land ownership was so critical and remains critical in terms of a place where you can call your own, can be your own, and you can build wealth off of.
Yeah, and I mean, the sloganeering around 40 acres and a mule, it wasn't just a slogan, right? It is the unfulfilled promise, or even in some, it is what is owed. It is a debt that has long since been owed. But, just thinking about also the way in which Black farmers have been deprived and denied the assistance of the United States Department of Agriculture over the last several decades, right? Even when we just think about the post-civil rights era, right? Over the last 40, 50 years, we know the story of Shirley Sherrod, and it's just so much that has happened. So seeing all of that, understanding, for folks who might think about cowboys and cowboy culture, oh, that might be a Texas thing, or that might be this regional thing, but really that is a reflection of the broader Black experience here in America, and is deeply connected to these other aspects that are really more about, and which is what I appreciate the way this story unfolds across the 3 episodes, how this connects to the broader story of Black people and Black power in this country, that isn't just specifically about this one genre of cultural exploration, even as exciting as it is to see that unfold as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's, again, it lines up, all this lines up with our history as a people, and we can see it all play out through, through just this one lens, right, of cowboy culture. And I appreciate to your point, the way that the story kind of unfolds across the 3 episodes is because you get to learn something, right? You get to remember some stuff, right? You get to, just talking about, Buck and the Preacher. I remember seeing Buck and the Preacher when I was a kid. And, again, the way in which we tell our stories, right, versus what happens to our story when it gets in the hands of other people, right, and how we get portrayed. But it's a fantastic series. Again, I will say it is on Peacock. It is called High Horse: The Black Cowboy. Folks should find their way to Peacock and watch it this weekend, because it really is it's an important piece of history, and it's just good. It's good storytelling. It's good film, and the imagery is great. The music is great. They got, they do a piece on rodeos if you like rodeos, Black rodeo in particular. So it's got something in it for everyone. But we're gonna continue this conversation with Anoa Changa when we come forward, and we're gonna turn our attention to the silliness of the news from this week. Anoa, if you don't mind taking a minute with me to talk about how ridiculous this week has been. But more when we come forward. This is KBLA Talk 1580.
You're part of the Black Pack with Adrianne Shropshire on KBLA Talk 1580.
Days after the Eaton fire devastated entire neighborhoods in Pasadena and Altadena, Black Freedom Fund, an organization that invests in leaders and organizations transforming Black communities, established the Black LA Relief and Recovery Fund. The Black LA Relief and Recovery Fund is supporting local organizations, providing direct resources to families, and making sure that recovery reflects the needs and voices of the people who live there. For many, the journey to rebuild is just beginning, and the Black Freedom Fund is committed to being with them every step of the way. Stand with Dina. Donate by texting Black LA to the number 707070. That's Black LA to 707070. Together, we can help our neighbors rebuild their homes, lives, and hope. The Black Freedom Fund is proud to sponsor Conversation Live, Altadena Rising, with James Farr on KBLA, Talk 1580.
We asked seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up. Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number to put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone. And should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement.
Check your statement every month.
If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
Call your senior Medicare Patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. If you need help getting your resume in order, finding job training, or landing a job, we've got 3 great options for you. First, the City of Los Angeles has worksource centers across the area offering free job support. The California Workforce Development Board can help you with everything from GED prep to vocational training at no cost to you. On the federal level, the Department of Labor's American Job Centers offer a full range of services for job seekers and businesses alike. Visit careeronestop.org, or for more info, just call California's Help Center or visit cwdb.ca.gov or call 916-657-1440. For the City of Los Angeles programs, go to ewdd.lacity.gov or call 213-744-7300. All these services are free to help you get your next job. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
You don't talk to me like that. Don't talk to your mommy like that.
Unlike your mama, we can handle your black talk on the Black Pack with Adrianne Shropshire.
Well, this week, I feel maybe every week, I know that we often talk about, the very bad news that we're always getting out of Washington. And I was just actually in Washington, and I feel like, I'm looking at you, Andy, I feel like Washington's kind of bleak right now. It is, it feels like when you're there, how we talk about it when we are here in LA. So the news is always never great. This week, I feel like the news has been just absolutely silly, and we don't even have to take the whole week. We could just take literally today. Anoa, we were talking about this earlier, yesterday, we learned that New York City Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani was going to be going to the White House to visit with Trump. Trump posted on his social media platform, called the man a communist, which I guess is, a slur, and said he was coming to the White House. And in response to Mamdani going to the White House, I guess, Republicans in the House of Representatives put forward a bill to denounce socialism. Now, these are people who couldn't come back from their districts to reopen the government, who, couldn't come back to vote, to take SNAP benefits out of the larger bill and vote so that people could eat. They couldn't find time to come back to do that. They couldn't find time to come back to make sure that our members of the military got paid by pulling that out of the bill and making sure that folks got paid. They couldn't do anything. They could not. We were living in a period of time for 43 days where we did not have a functioning Congress, and yet they had time today to put forward a red baiting resolution denouncing socialism, and 85 Democrats joined them to denounce socialism for no reason whatsoever. Noah, I think you saw that today also.
Yeah, and it also coincides, with Mamdani's visit, right? Like you were saying. And we know that there has been this issue with some of the old guard, traditional wing, whatever folks are calling it, of the Democratic Party to embrace not just Mamdani, but Mamdani is probably the most visibly successful member in the most recent years of the Democratic Socialists of America. He was also, I think you talked on the show a couple of weeks ago, he's also, one of the candidates supported by the Working Families Party, which is a fusion political party. I believe you had someone on talking about that recently. And so, it's I don't know what Democrats think they're signaling, because this is not what anybody is asking for right now. He's actually wildly popular with a lot of people outside of New York City. And the issues that are being pushed and promoted are wildly popular with Americans. I mean, he had Trump eating out of his hand today, right?
Right. Well, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that, because that's also part of the weirdness of the week. So, Trump posts on social media that Mamdani's asked for a meeting and that he's going to allow the communist to come to the Oval Office, which obviously was, a way of putting him down. Then they meet, then they BFFs. I mean, what, all of the headlines are Trump praises the, New York City's mayor-elect, right? He thinks he's great, thinks he's going to do big things. What is that, Noah? Someone said on social media, someone posted yesterday and said, I'm going to pin this here and you all come back to it, because before Trump has an opportunity to talk to any of his aides, in the immediate aftermath of the meeting, he's going to praise Mamdani. And that is exactly what happened, because no one got to him to tell him, you're not supposed to talk good about him. You're supposed to belittle him and humiliate him. No one got in front of him to tell him that. And so now he's an admirer of Zoran Mamdani.
At least for now, right? And I mean, looking at Zoran's the press conference he held yesterday, he was very much, on message, really speaking about what his purpose was. He's the incoming mayor of the city of New York. It is still considered the financial hub of the country. I mean, New York and D.C. have a very intimate relationship of sorts, right? And so, his campaign kept stressing how it was customary for this type of visit to happen. We're not in customary times, but it is understandable. Right. But it just, like you said, it was really interesting, though, how friendly Trump was with him, right. How almost admirable, it seemed like he admired him and his grasp of politics, even claiming that we have a lot of the same ideas. Right, yeah. Well, brother, if you got the same ideas as him, it's not playing out. It's right,
so are you a socialist now? So now we like socialism. Now we like socialist ideas.
Now we
free buses for everybody, baby. Socialism. Free buses for everybody.
They like it when it benefits them. I mean, the Trump thing today, they were pointing about a lot of how awful what's happening this is, and how he literally is a mouthpiece for these other interests. And this gets to a bigger issue with a lot of the opposition right now, is that it's more than just Trump. Trump is a harbinger, but Trump is not the mastermind, right? He's not the brainchild. Karl Rove was Bush's brain. There's a whole bunch of other people operating inside of Trump's right now. And when they're not getting to him, he, I guess in the moment, maybe he forgets what his lines are supposed to be. I really don't know, but it also makes me wonder, and I know that we've talked in the past about the speculating of people's mental abilities. I'm going to try not to be an ageist or ableist, but it also really wonders me about his mental fitness, that he can just forget so easily, right? Where he is and who he's talking to.
Right. Yeah, well, it was quite a sight to behold. And if folks haven't seen any of the videos coming out, I guess go and look at it. But yeah, the idea that we have many of the same ideas, or that we share many of the same ideas, or we agree on ideas, when literally for months, right, during the campaign, the entire Republican establishment, as well as parts of the Democratic establishment, right? We're saying these are bad ideas, and we shouldn't actually be talking about them, and that they can't be done. Last thing I want to ask you about is the sort of kerfuffle, if that's a word I could use, around Pharrell. And his recent interview where he talked about politics and how he doesn't like politics, and that, that he, it forces you to pick a side, and that he doesn't believe in picking sides because picking sides is actually the division. Right. The division is in picking sides, that's what causes and creates division. And so he doesn't like politics, like state. And so there was backlash, right, from many quarters saying that this is irresponsible of you, particularly in this moment, to be talking about how people should stay out of politics when we saw the results, right, of people staying out of politics in this last election cycle when many people stayed home and didn't vote. And now we got what we got. But just your take on public figures like that and their duty to, be responsible when having those kinds of conversations.
Yeah, I mean, I think there was also something similar recently with like Busta Rhymes. We've seen a trend of this, recently too, and I think it's a double-edged sword, right? On the one hand, it's just like, I mean, it's the same thing with like Black folks in general, right? Do we always have to hold the burden of the race when we speak, right? But at the same time, these moments really do require people who do have outsized platform and influence to be at least intelligible when they're talking, and not question his intelligence, but this whole I don't believe in sides, that's a very privileged standpoint to take, because unfortunately we are in a moment right now where you have to take a side, and not taking a side is actually choosing a side. So that's right. I mean, I do think like we shouldn't put so much stock in what celebrities are saying, but at the same time, folks like Pharrell who do have these platforms and do exist in these broad landscapes, they do need to be at least a little bit more sharp about how to respond and how to help influence people in this moment.
Right. Yep. Well, I want to thank you for coming on and talking to me about all things Black cowboys and the silliness of the news. Anoa, you're always great to hear from you and your brilliant ideas and commentary. So thanks for joining. When we come forward,
shucks. Thank you.
We're going to be joined by Jared Bass, Senior Vice President of Education at the Center for American Progress, to discuss the dismantling of the Department of Education. This is KBLA Talk 1580. Stay with us.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. President Trump says he does not want a group of Democrats executed, but he does want them punished for making a video urging troops to ignore illegal orders.
I think the military is looking into it, the military courts. Speaking
with Fox News, he called their actions horrible and claims military courts are investigating. A suspect made threats and gestures at the D.C. office of Black Texas Rep. Jasmine Crockett Thursday evening, but no one was injured. Crockett, a vocal progressive and critic of President Trump, condemned political violence and called for unity after the incident. And Mystical has been denied bond and will stay in jail until his rape trial begins March 30th, 2026. The rapper has been locked up since 2022, facing charges including rape, battery, and false imprisonment. The charges stem from a 2022 incident where a woman accused him of assaulting